You know that U.S. Department of Homeland Security has made some changes and regulations regarding admissibility and adjustment of status. That's going to be effective from October 15th, 12 a.m. And it says that any applications or petitions that will be submitted before this deadline at, by by the 14th of October would not be subjected under these new regulations. So I'm going to say something about it because many people are talking about it, and a lot of people I see that don't have a clear idea what's in it, what does it say. Before I explain it to laymen like you and laymen like me, this is a disclaimer. I'm not expert, so whatever I'll be telling you in this presentation will be totally my understanding that I understood, I grasped going through this complicated volume of materials with all the footnotes, references, and all these things. Uh, so basically, what it says on admissibility. Admissibility pertains to people who immigrate to the United States. It means the newcomer, those who come in as a new immigrant with immigrant visas. And once they come to the airport with valid immigrant visa, they are inspected by U.S. immigration officer and going through the visas and all these things. And if the officer find him admissible, it means he can come in as an immigrant. So then he stamped his passport, and then he gets in, and he is welcomed as a lawful permanent resident of the United States. And adjustment of status is another thing, that the person is physically present in the United States and he applies to adjust his status to that of a permanent resident, and after the interview, if the immigration officer finds him adjustable, so he stamped his passport and his status is adjusted to that of a permanent resident. Okay. Now, why is that so important, and why so many people are worried that what's going to happen to their relatives who are coming, or those who are already here in the United States, what will happen to them? Okay. Now, let me tell you this. In 1999, there was a guideline about public charge. I'm going to explain public charge, but before that, let me tell you what was going on. If someone wants to come in to the United States, so the petitioner has to file an affidavit, execute an affidavit of support form. And here he says that he will undertake the responsibility of preventing his relatives who are coming in as a United States permanent resident. He would prevent them from becoming a public charge. All right. If his income is not sufficient, then he could take help from a joint sponsor, maybe a friend, family, or another relative, or a household member, whatsoever. Okay, so together they take this responsibility. Okay, if anything goes against the immigrant that regarding the affidavit, so the first, the sponsor, the petitioner would be responsible, and if he cannot, he's incapable of meeting up whatever he promised in his affidavit, then it would be on the joint sponsor who would be responsible for that. Okay. So the basic understanding in that affidavit was that to prevent the intending immigrant who was coming to the United States will not become a public charge. Okay. What is public charge? Charge means weight. So you don't become a burden on the public. So their money, the public paid taxes, right? And this tax money is in the government, and the government spend this money to different programs and also for public benefits as well. Okay. So normally the commitment on the affidavit of support was that the immigrant will not become a public charge. It means not become a burden on the public. Okay. And then there was a guideline in 1999. It says that public charge, they defined two things. One was like long-term institutionalized care. Long-term means when it goes over 1 year and you are institutionalized. It means you are in a hospital or a nursing home whatsoever. If it exceeds more than 1 year, and then it's a public charge. Or if you take money for your income maintenance, for your substances, pay for other expenses and whatever. So these two, but there are other benefits, like they call it SNAP, Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. They used to call it SNAP, food stamp, and then they came up with this kind of euphemism, SNAP. Okay, so makes it, sounds better, So, and then Medicaid and other medical benefits. In other words, in a nutshell, if you don't take cash money, or if you're not hospitalized or in a nursing home for more than 1 year, you are not a public charge. So in this way, it has been a huge incentive for all new immigrants, because even though people are submitting affidavit of support, but they were always off the hook, because this kind of situation very rarely happened that they were asked to pay for pay money because their affidavit, and the persons become public charge. So normally when a new immigrant came, he could get Medicaid. In the beginning, they could come and get cash assistance as well. Not cash assistance, but other things. And also, I said that for 1 year, so for a certain time, so they could take it, and that created a huge incentive for people to come to the United States. If you don't have a job, you go and get a SNAP. They call it SNAP or food stamp. So you get money for your foods and groceries. Your health care is free. Your medication is free. You want to go to a doctor, you don't pay doctor's fees. Go to lab tests, whatever. Okay. And also in America, if you work a little bit, and you get good tax refund. So this is a hefty refund, because if you have children, then you get child tax credit. And then you get earned income credit for low-income families. So in this way, actually, most of the tax burden was on people who were making more money, and especially those who are single. It was very burden on them. As a tax preparer, and I know that I had certain clients, who made $150,000, and he was paying close to $55,000 in taxes. Almost 1/3 of his income. Okay, and whereas someone was making like $20,000, and he was getting about $10,000-$12,000 back. So that was the incentive, that if you come to the United States and you make less money, and then you can have access to all the public benefits, and also you don't become a public charge according to the old definition. Now, what's happening here? The Homeland Security proposed a new regulations, and that changed the aspect of this public charge gamut. It means what things are they're going to consider as public charge, and what thing will not. Okay. Now, here it says there are two kinds of public charge. One thing is that can be monetized. It means that can be measured in terms of money. So which could be SNAP or food stamp, and what else? And other. And housing assistance or whatsoever that can be. And then there's a medical term, Medicaid things that couldn't be monetized. Now, after all kinds of consideration, there are a lot of changes in between, and whatever, the main thing is whatever you get, like Medicaid, food stamp, and all these housing assistance, housing vouchers, and all these things, over a certain period of time, it will become subject to public charge. Okay. If you take like, and then another thing is, if something that you take over 1 year is considered as public charge. So if you take SNAP for 1 year and you take Medicaid, so that will be counted as 2. So you're not for what is called like 1 year. It's going to be 6 months. If you take another aspect to it, like you take SNAP and then you take Medicaid and you take housing, so it's going to be 3. So it's going to be like 4 months of service, and after that you become a public charge. Okay. So now what is going to happen after October 14th, that is effective October 15th, okay, you have to demonstrate that we will not become a public charge at any time, okay, and as part of your sponsor affidavit, you will get this responsibility that you will not become a public charge. You can free from this condition under 2 circumstances. One is when you work, and if you accumulate Social Security points, like 40 points that you are vested in the retirement system, Social Security benefits. That's, and another thing is when you become a citizen. All right. Then, so there are 2 ways. Okay. So what I was saying, so now when you come in, under new conditions, okay, you have to demonstrate that you will not become a public charge. And now they say that within a 36 months period, within 3 years, if you take these benefits, monetized or non-monetized, it means cash or whatever, whatever, housing assistance, everything. So no benefit. I mean, if you take it for more than 1 year, then you become a public charge, and that means within a 3-year period. Okay. All right. So this is the thing. So this is on. Okay. And here it says, certain aliens, they're exempted by the Congress, like refugees, asylees, or those who are granted because of certain situations. They will not be affected by these regulations, but all other immigrants, like family related who come over here. Okay. And so now, then another thing, it's a huge thing that I went through, so you know what in my memory, and I'm just trying to explain it to you. So the immigration officer can count on the age. So if the age is below 18, it's a negative factor, because they're not adults, so they'll be dependent on somebody. And if you're over 61, that's a negative point, because over 61 and elder, also is considered. So anything between 18 and 61, this is a positive factor. Okay, you will have the possibility to work, but then there are a lot of other factors will be considered. For example, what is your academic education, what's your physical ability, and all these things. So whether you will be able to work and make a living in the United States, that's another thing. Okay, so the situation is that, okay, so this, what I'm telling here is about the admissibility. So admissibility means, this is what it is. You have a valid immigrant visa, and you have a sponsor, and you come to the and you're on a boat. You come to you boarded a plane, and you came to the United States airport. Here, the immigration officer can go through. That's what I'm saying. Can look at your age, Look at your ability, look at your academic qualification or other qualification, and they might suspect that at one point during the 36-month period you may become a public charge. Okay, so even if you have a valid immigrant visa and affidavit of support, they might refuse you. If they admit you, that's what it's called, admissibility. So these rules, they call admissibility. So they'll let you in if they're satisfied that, okay, everything is okay, your sponsor is okay. And another one is like adjustment of status. Adjustment of status means you're physically present in the United States and you want to adjust from one category to that of a lawful permanent resident. So you apply, and then you need an affidavit of support, or if you have lived here for certain times and you have worked and you have accumulated enough Social Security, like 40 hours as I said, then you can file I-864W, which is called exemption. So you can go for exemption, or you have to get a sponsor, and also you have to submit a bond, and the bond amount is set for like $8,100. And normally the way the bond works is that there are bonding agencies, so they charge a fee, certain percentage, like 7.5%, 8%, some may charge 12%, 15%, whatever. It means, suppose $8,100 bond, and 10% of that is like $810. So the bonding agency will take $810 just for issuing you the bond, because it is their undertaking that if for any reason Homeland Security asks that, okay, this man violated his public charge provision, so he owes this money, without any question they will write a check for $8,100 to immigration. So now they are charging fees for the undertaking, but before they take this responsibility, they'll make sure they have the hand on your assets to have it as a collateral. Because if you don't satisfy the conditions of your bond, that means you have to pay $8,100. So they will have to have collateral. They could put lien on your property, or they could charge your credit card, put a hold on that, or whatsoever. So basically, that's a very complicated procedure, but I'm talking about mainly on people who would be coming to the United States after October 14th and who will be under subject to new rule. Okay. Now here it says that the new regulations pertains to all petitions and application postmarked by October 14th. After October 14th, it means October 15th, it will be under the new regulations. Okay. Now, does it mean that those who are here already with previous regulations of public charge provision, it says here that will not be subjected to these provisions? But look at this, and it talks about residents and aliens. Now it's categorized the aliens who are exempted by the Congress, like the refugees, asylees, and certain immigrants who are here. But what about regular immigrants? Regular immigrants mean, okay, that's the precondition on your previous I-864. When you came here, unless you attend 40 credit hours on the Social Security points, or unless you become a citizen, you will not, you're not off the hook. Okay. So even though it doesn't pertain, the new regulation doesn't pertain to the old people who come in over here, but it's my understanding, I may be wrong, but what I'm trying to tell you here, those who are lawful permanent residents and those who have not earned 40 credit hours and Social Security points, they might have some problem, because certain things are going to stop. A lot of immigrant petitions and applications, you don't pay a fee if your household income is less, or you've received means-tested public benefits like food stamp or SNAPs, Medicaid, and all these things. So basically, if you receive Medicaid and you can apply and you can show that, okay, I am a poor person, so I cannot pay the fees. Like, when you become a citizen, you pay $725, but because of your income situation and you're receiving means tested public benefit like Medicaid or SNAP and all these things, so you can apply for free. Now, what happens next? As I said, that from October 14th, it says within a period of 36 months, if you have Medicaid or this kind of means tested public benefits, you will be considered as a public charge. So I'm not sure, but it sounds like you may become a public charge. Okay. So this is one thing. Another thing is, look like after October 15th, you won't be able to apply for citizenship or other things for free, because the condition is that you are receiving means tested public benefits, or you okay. So you are violating your conditions okay. And also it says technically I may be wrong, but it says admissibility or adjustment of status. Technically, when you apply for citizenship, you are a lawful permanent resident. So when you apply for naturalization, technically you are adjusting your status from a lawful permanent to that of a naturalized citizen of the United States. I may be wrong, but in that case, you might be prevented from becoming a United States citizen if you take public benefits. I may be wrong, but the way I see it, they can deny you the citizenship. So basically what you need, you cannot have public benefit. Okay. This is the thing. Okay. Those who already submitted sponsors affidavit of support, they might have some kind of problems too, because now the definition has changed. Now the question is whether this definition applies to previous. It says no, but look at this, how it can. These are not lifetime. It has certain expiration dates. Suppose if you get Medicaid, you have to renew it. Now, when it comes to renew, you might fall under the new guideline because you already came in. It doesn't say, I don't know. Still, this is an area. It needs certain clarification, because when you came to the United States with affidavit of support, and that time it says Medicaid is not public charge, food stamp or SNAP is not public charge, and other housing benefits are not public charge. But the regulations change under the definition, and now they say that they will consider as a public charge in its totality. Not only public charge or public benefits or all these things. Anyway, so basically what I'm trying to say, so in coming days, it's going to be more difficult for those who want to come to the United States. And you have to have an idea. Once you come to the United States, you have to work, and you have to find a job, and you will need to pay for your insurance. But if you get a good job, maybe your employer will provide you insurance. So basically, so those days are going to be over. It has been a paradise, and it's going to be until October 14th. But after that, if you think that you don't have this, and it's coming for free, but it has been like before, it's not going to be like so. So make sure once you come in, you have the mental preparation that you'll get a job, you'll earn for your sustenance and subsistence, and you won't be looking for public funds or public benefits until you become a citizen. And that's what it is. I'm not discouraging or dissuading you from coming to the United States, but what I'm saying, as you come in, you better come well prepared, not ill prepared. And also those who will be filing petitions for your relatives, you have to tell them that you have to accommodate yourself here in the United States, and over the time you need to assimilate into the system. So you have to, so there are a lot of things. I mean, you want to get a job, you have to have good command over English language. Then you have to have, if you want to go for any trading skills job, you have to have know the know-how of that job, trade skills or whatever. Then you need to know driving, because not all places you will have mass communications to go there in public transportations. So there are a lot of factors to think about. And I don't know, thing is, the scenario will change the way, I mean, here in the United States, so medical treatment is very expensive. So if you don't have the insurance, I mean, obviously you can have insurance, but you have to pay for it. Okay. Then once you pay for the insurance and then you go to the doctor, it's not coming for you to free like Medicaid, that you don't pay doctor's fee, no for medications or lab tests. So once you go to the doctor, you have to pay doctor's visit. There's a copay insurance. Then if you go for prescriptions, there's a copay for the medications. You go for lab tests, you have to pay for certain portions. So your insurance is not going to cover everything. So this is the situation. You have to think about it. But I'll urge everyone, those who want to come to the United States, those who are young, study hard, do good results, learn English language, so that once you come in, you don't feel out of place, like a fish out of water, because you'll be able to communicate to the people. You can apply a job. So you'll have to be smart and intelligent enough to go and get a job. Jobs are nowadays, they're available, but it's also getting a good job, decent job, is difficult certain times. I mean, but, and also those are coming, you can go for like IT jobs, learn computers, learn languages and other things. And those who are already aged, they have to think about also that what kind of job. At least, I mean, there are a lot of jobs you can do. So once you come here in the United States, and all jobs are dignified here, so nobody will look down to you because you're doing menial jobs. There is dignity of labor here in the United States. But once you come in, come with this mindset that America is a nice place to live, but I have to work, I have to earn bread for my family, for myself, all right? And also, if you work, and after 10 years of work, once you're vested in the Social Security, then once you retire, become a citizen, and you retire, you have your Social Security benefits, which we call pension. And then wherever in the world you live, you can carry your benefits. It means your monthly benefits will come to your bank account anywhere in the world, and not anywhere, I mean most of the countries. And also you'll have your Medicare, medical treatment, medical insurance over there as well. So that's a good thing about America, that if you work hard, there are certain things for you in future. And all the best to you. Thank you very much. Bye.